Morning long coming at you. I decided I'm going to try and stream with my daughter. So I'm going to be building DadBod this morning for about an hour with my daughter here. And, she's going to be my rubber duck, just like you, as I build out all this stuff. And if she wakes up and she wants to eat, well, we'll take a break. So this should be a lot of fun. I'm pretty excited for it. She's been making some noises. You might be able to hear her make the noises. Let's start off by turning on some lo-fi music here. That works. I like it. I'm going to share my screen. Alright. Welcome, my friends, to DadBod. I don't know if I've streamed myself building in a while, so what we're working on right now, and let's just run it. Working on building that multiplayer functionality, actually, with all the things that I had going. So right now we can host the game over here. I wonder if the music comes through. Maybe it does. Over here. Yeah, then we can join the game over here. For some reason unknown to me, yeah, so we still have a question system here, but for some reason unknown to me, like the level doesn't pop up for this other player. So I just don't get why that is. How do you do it? Trying to escape. Yeah, so we still got questions that our wife calls and asks us, So write a function named isEven. It takes an integer, so we can do that. We can actually write code. We can execute it. So let's test this out. isEven and return n mod 2 is equal to 0. We can make it an even number, and we can test it out. We can print out isEven 2. Print out isEven 3. We can test that, see how it does. And 2 is true and 2 is false. And assume that's good, we're going to hit submit. We got it correct. I know I need to improve that UI. And we can choose a new weapon for ourselves. We can give ourselves just a few fewer for some bullets. It's kind of hard to see the other bullets over here, but they are there. They're doing things. So I think in this next session, for this next hour, the thing I want to work on most is getting the question. Well, I'd actually love to try and debug this level. I don't know why the level is not appearing, and so I think that's actually what I'm going to do. Step 1, level. Step 2, if we can make it, is to work on getting this question to pop up for both things. So let's get to work. Alright, so first things first, is I have a system set up to spawn the level, but it is not spawning in. Why? I don't know. I really don't. So here's what we're gonna do. We are going to just kind of follow it through from the very beginning. So we call set level, call the bird load. We load in our scene, and then we call the set level. We have the scene back scene in here, and it gets the level object. So if we take a look against this, it removes the current levels. And it adds our new scene. That's pretty simple. And then this multiplayer spawner, what this thing is supposed to do is supposed to duplicate it's supposed to duplicate that level across all of the connected players. It's supposed to. Why it doesn't do it, I'm honestly not sure. So what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna delete it. I'm gonna remake it because it's not working. It's not working. So we got our multiplayer spawner. I'm gonna call it a level spawner. And the spawn path, so it knows like, okay, anything beneath this object we're gonna sync. Spawn limit is 0, aka infinity. Totally fine with that. So then there's this auto spawn list. We're gonna add the list of things that if it detects that that kind of object is used to create the thing, it will duplicate it. So let's say I have a specific kind of entity down here that I want it to sync and create across all connected players. I just need to choose, theoretically, I just need to choose the scene that represents that entity. And when that entity is created, it'll get synced across all the players. So, I mean, let's just give this a shot sometimes. I mean, this is basically the equivalent of, oh, it's not working? Did you turn it off? Turn it back on in building a game. So I deleted the thing, I turned it off, and we're turning it back on right now. So we're going to go to scenes, we're going to go to survivor, and we're going to go to multiplayer prop. That's the one that is currently being loaded. So it's still giving us this little warning. I found that if I just close it out and I reopen it, multiplayer root, it goes away. So I've just recreated what was there previously. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We're going to give it a shot. And then it might be time for some food. Unless you're trying to poop. I don't know. Alright, so host the game here. We'll play here and hit join, and it didn't work. Okay. So, I wonder why this is not that. So, there's some options. Maybe potentially the player spawns. So this, there we go. So the players spawn, and they're children of this, and the player spawner is just set up exactly the same as the level spawner, and it just spawns the player scene, replicates that. So the level spawner, I'm not 100% sure what is going on here, but I know I had it working once upon a time, and I did something, and now it doesn't work. So It's just a little bit annoying. Okay, so spawn already connected players. No, if we're the server, I still have this line in here. I don't know if it's necessary, strictly necessary. If we're not a dedicated server, we add player one. Okay, if we're the host of the game, we click host, we add the player. And I mean, adding the player works. Right? Because I mean, the player appears on both characters. Excuse me. So we can add the player, do the thing, but the delete player function works as well. Gets the players as node, string ID, frees them up, erases them from the players global list. And so I just this level here just gets me. It really does. So let's see if let's put prints in here. If we print out test one, see what happens. My goal is just to see, in this case, does the test one there. I just want to see, I want to make sure that this guy is also printing out test one. Okay, so it prints out test one, which means that this scene is getting loaded. So that's all good and dandy. But this multiplayer prop scene is not being replicated. So why might that be? What could be causing that? Hop over to level. So in this case, I expect to see this only once. If I see it twice, then something weird is going on. The reason I only expect to see it once is because this is the script for the level, and I expect ready to be called exactly one time. So I expect it will be called here. Test level ready. Okay. And now here. Okay. We're getting errors about this. About not being able to see things. These more texture problems. Process never happened during our spawn. It's usually the rate signal is moderated by spawn here. Okay. So that's session one. We got session two now. So, okay. I'll put the elite players one. Okay. On spawn receive. Okay, I don't. This doesn't look like it has anything to do with my level not spawning, which is a little bit annoying. It just has something to do with my loadout. That's what this is about. This is the loadout. Load not found. Multiplayer group players. Loadout components. Good, yeah. That's the TADE. That's the thing that circles around the player. I call it code, and it throws an error because it also is not getting synced. That's a separate problem, as far as I'm aware. Maybe it's not, but it looks like. I mean, this function isn't recalled on the player number 2, and I still don't know why. It's not even. It's like the game doesn't even try to create it. Here. Alright. There. Let's see. Loading right there. Oh. Is it time for food? Time for food, everybody. She calms down again. Yeah. It's time for food, guys. It's time for food. I'll be right back. Got it warmed up already. Alright, looks like you're calming back down a bit. But I know you're hungry. It's been like 4 hours since you've eaten. Glad you're sleeping. Okay. Hold on, I'll go get a build cloth. I'm gonna have to stand up again. I just can't think of a better way to build DadBod than while taking care of my daughter. It just feels perfect. I just kind of rest her on the table here, and I can still use my left hand to program. So we can still build. We can still build crap. Let's go. All right, so we've got our. Excuse me. So we're replacing this level that we were loading in here, and we're just going to replace it with an actual scene. So that should be good. Now I just got to actually update a multiplayer route to have multiplayer prop scene. Here we go. All right, we'll try this again. First down game. Check the errors. Allow warnings from this help bar component. An error happened during last spawn. This usually means the ready signal is not emitted to spawn. Okay. Okay, so we already got an error. Let's see if we can just try to get rid of this error. I don't want that. So I'm curious. I wonder if I add ready. Like this. I'll do something like really. That's an infinite loop. Thank you, super. Is that it? Or okay, so it was just down. Green error here. So maybe that's old. YouTube. If it's gonna work. Okay. Okay, I didn't fix the error. What happened during last spawn? Usually these really signals not emitted by the spawn. Okay, so we're getting this error, and here's what I'm gonna do. I am just gonna comment out setting the level. I comment out setting the level, does that solve the problem? So we can know that this error is indeed actually causing my problem. Because if it isn't, I don't actually really care about it right now. I still want to potentially try and get it to hide itself. Well, okay. Nope. Not part of my issue as far as I'm aware. Okay, is it time for food? Time for food? Yep, there we go. All right, good go. Yeah. All right. Professional right there. So there we go. This is not, well, baby's being fed. Put that on autopilot a bit. Don't know what this error is from them. Or maybe it's from this. Let's check. There's a loadout sinker. And I'm gonna delete it. I know it's not working. Let's see if that gets rid of the error. Okay, back over to the error. Let's go. So that was just the loadout sinker for the player. Okay, and now let's see if maybe that caused some fallout and prevented the actual loading of my level. And this is Godot 4. They're still working through some things. Again, this was working, but it isn't anymore. So there's something I did, and that might have been it. Boom, there one. Yeah, we got it. That was it. Just had to delete that sinker. Boom. Let's go. Alright. Good to go. Woo. Looks like that made the level up happen for both people at the same time. Assuming I suppose that their experience is synced. But if I answer your question on one side, it wouldn't break it on the other side. So I also need to set it up so the questions can be voted on if there's multiple people. Because otherwise, one random Joe is just gonna click on the wrong one, ruin everyone's day. Okay, that's kind of odd. Having another sinker as a child of the player was causing the level to not load. Why? I don't know. But here we are. It just is. Catching the drooling milk. Hope we are. Alright, well, one problem solved. It feels pretty good. I'm gonna mark that as complete. Let's go. I'm happy with that. I'm way happy with that, actually. Let's go. We're making progress. That feels good. I still want to sync the player's loadout, though. So I gotta figure out how to do that. Let's see. DadBod. Multiplayer. What is syncing? Boom. Okay. Said I wanted to do shared experience. Said I wanted to do player loadout replication. I also have another issue where experience is pulled from anywhere, no matter the distance. Specifically on the host, as far as I can tell. So still, there's bugs. We got bugs. Lots of bugs. So how do we want to solve this then? Which piece do we want to solve next? I'd say I'd want to sync the player's loadout. Also said question system. Question system syncing. Maybe I'll just call this multiplayer. I know you can't see this. This is my to-do list. A multiplayer question system. Okay. So, player loadout. Let's sync up the player loadout. How do we want to do this? So just looking at the player. The player loadout, as I have it right now, is actually just a list of nodes that exists as a child of the loadout component. So when a new child is added to this loadout component, well, to sync it to let everyone else know, hey, here's the item that I have. Hey, excuse me. To let everyone else know, here's the child that I have. I need to, theoretically, I need to sync up all of those nodes. And the way that I was syncing up all of those nodes was I created a spawner in here. But apparently creating the spawner causes issues. So having a spawner embedded in a spawned object appears to cause Godot some problems. Or maybe I'm just doing it incorrectly. I am not sure. But, let's see if we can get this to work. Let's see if I can do it correctly. How are we doing, everyone? 7-Eleven? Yeah, you're cruising. Good girl. All right. Gotta put the feeding on autopilot. Gotta make sure the bottle has the right angle. There we go. Yeah. That's the stuff. That's the stuff right there. All right, so taking a look then, how would I sync children in this loadout component? The second option is I can turn all of my equipped items into resources, which is a good idea, potentially. Resources are easier to save, easier to write to disk, and come back to. So resources might be a good way to go. I'd still have to, it's a little bit annoying because I've designed everything to be an entity. So I guess my resource, it's not overly difficult. My resource would just define different entities to spawn in different states. So, am I equipped? Yeah. Alright, let's spawn this entity. Am I on the ground? Yeah. Let's spawn this entity. Am I yada yada yada? Like, where am I at? Spawn this thing. And then in inventory, we just keep track of it as a resource. If it doesn't spawn, like, so for example, if it doesn't need to spawn anything, but if it's equipped, it needs to spawn something generally. So how do we deal with that? What do we do? So either way, I need to spawn something. And I'm not sure how I would share a resource across the wire. I don't know if I could do that. I'd probably have to break it down into a JSON object and share that instead. What an interesting conundrum. What an interesting conundrum. What do I do? What do I do? Okay, let's see. So, having it as an entity right now, is proving to be more than a little bit difficult. Though I've only attempted one method of syncing the components. Let's do a quick search. No for syncing player syncer. Another scene. I know how to sync children's scenes. That's perfect. Synchronize the multiplayer spawner, multiplayer synchronizer. When I try to add children's scenes to the player, for example, a unit scene, you can't figure out how to manage the initial replication of those scenes and how to sync their positions, etc. Syncing node and computers. Okay. One answer 6 months ago said, I made my player nodes with multiplayer sync node as part of its tree, so each one does indeed have its own empty syncing node. Okay. Adding child of instance scene to node scene. I get node for it, that's not this. Those aren't my questions. Multiplayers. Spawner. Missing grids of spawner. Placing one node with another. Multiplayer spawner. Okay. Well, this isn't entirely helpful. I guess the test that I just want to do is basically saying, can I have a multiplayer spawner as a child of an already spawned node? That's the question. Is that a possibility? Let's check. Pretty sure I actually potentially already do this. Now, so my spawners, let's just add a multiplayer spawner just to this node. And we'll say that the tile map is the tile map. Doesn't have any auto spawn things. I don't really care about that. But let's just see if I get that same weird network error that I was getting before. When I load, I host the game. I'm not. Okay, so I'm not getting the same error that I was before. Which means I can theoretically have a spawner as a child of a spawned node. Okay, so let's take a look then at. Let's get rid of this. Actually, hop in here and get rid of our print statements. No longer need them. Let's see. Test one back here. Okay, I think I got all this. All right, so let's just add the spawner back into the loadout component. And maybe the multiplayer spawner can't be the child of the loadout component. That might be my issue. There's a lot of rules about this that I just am not wholly aware of, but let's try it. Okay. So let's see if we get any errors here. It shouldn't be trying to spawn any nodes. So actually, whoop. Well done. Well done. We burped. Oh, not the whole thing. Okay. Getting frustrated because it was empty? Or are you getting frustrated just because you are? Is that better? That's good. So we can look at what we've got. Again, I can't think of a better way to build DadBod. I love it when their eyes roll back to their head. It's hilarious. If you have a baby, my baby is cute as yours. Hands down. I know I'm biased, but it's true. Cuter than yours. Just out of curiosity, I don't know if the chat functionality works. Oh, there we go. Cool. Cool. It's like I can send chat messages to Twitch and YouTube at the same time. Awesome. I'm streaming to both. That's cool. I like this software quite a bit. Lets me play this nice music in the background. Lets me invite other people and host a stream with multiple people. And I really enjoy that. It's a lot of fun. Any burpees? Any burp at all? Better not vomit on me. Well, I'd make it for some good camera, but I wouldn't be a fan. Well, yeah. Yeah. Alright, so got about 13 minutes left in this stream before I'm going to call it good. Let's see, we were working on just testing to see if I got the same error as I did before. So let's see. No error. I'm not attracting the experience at all. No? I gotta fix something. Okay, so our original error that we were getting is no longer, at least doesn't seem to be a problem any longer. Okay, so I shouldn't say that. My guess is that the moment I try to make it sync the TADE, that we're gonna have a similar issue. So it wasn't the issue of having the multiplayer spawner as a child, the things, it was that in our auto spawn list, so let's say if I add TADE in here, throw TADE as a child, it's likely that we will get this similar error that caused the level to not sync on others. So just double check it, see if I'm right. There it is. Error happened during that spawn. This usually means that the ready signal is not permitted in the spawn. No. There's that. Let's say that's an issue with my actual TADE here. I'm curious. So multiplier root Yeah, so the multiplayer root creates the starting item, which is the TADE. We add the child to ourselves, and then we get the loadout component of the character, the player, and we store the item in him. So this is assuming that the players is fully set up and instantiated and just good to go. And I mean, the fact that I'm able to get the loadout component from the player means that that is actually the case. I haven't ever had any issues with that. Ooh, excuse me. Maybe if I do true. Maybe the issue is that it's not being added for the first time. I don't know. ID is not being omitted. I don't know. But by the way, let's give it a nice name and see if that solves the problem. I know I had some issues with the player because I didn't have true next, like in that little add child there. So let's see if that's the issue. And if it is the issue, great. You would have made like a metric butt ton of progress in this past hour. It'd be awesome. Got 151. My guess is that it's still there. Error happens during my spawns. Usually means the ready signal was not emitted by a spawn. Okay. So, to my knowledge, this doesn't actually impact. I mean, as we know that the TADE is actually added as a child of the loadout component. It's still there. The only issue, I guess, is that gotta shoot myself a bit more. My tailbone's getting wrecked. Is that okay for me? Okay. Oh. So, again, my guess. Okay, so let's see. Let's just follow the scene of events. We're able to spawn our TADE in the loadout component. That isn't an issue. We are able to and then that TADE is activated on the host. So effectively, every time the player is created, it's like that process is working as intended. Where it isn't working, it would seem, is this multiplayer spawner basically saying like, hey, the ready signal is not a major best spawn. No, we have an issue. So the question then becomes, what do we do? Why would that be the case? Can I trust the error? I'm going to say yes, I can trust the error. I think the main problem actually is the fact that we add the child as a node of another object before we add it as a node of the loadout component. And I guess what that means at the end of the day is that the resource approach would actually resolve this problem. because I wouldn't be adding the node as a child somewhere else, unparenting it, and then adding the child as a node elsewhere. I would just be adding it directly to the loadout component, which would, according to this, solve the issue. It's saying it usually means the ready signal is not emitted by the spawned node. And basically, my comprehension of that is that the ready signal was already emitted before it was added to the spawned node, or as a spawned node. So that is an interesting caveat here with these multiplayer spawners, is that you cannot unparent an entity and add it as a child and expect the multiplayer spawner to be able to work with it correctly. Which I guess in the long run kind of makes sense. In the short, it's more annoying than not, but because I'd love to be able to just slap any node in here and have it pick it up where it's at and go, right? But it's not able to do that for some reason. An interesting dilemma. Where did it go? Oh. So, I do think the solution is actually the resource approach to items. Alright. Yeah, that works for me. I don't think it changes what I do too heavily. I think it just means at the end of the day that my state management for Tade, for example, I have a state manager. Hidden game world, like we're on the ground, we're in inventory, we're equipped. It's like these states are basically just going to be handled by, well, first and foremost, this entity will be split up into at least two different entities. One entity for being on the ground, one entity for being equipped. How they display themselves, how it shows up, how it portrays itself. And then in inventory would literally just be a resource. And the resource would have a pointer to the two entities that it would display itself as, that it would create based on where it was being put. So that's not overly complicated. I think I will do that in the next programming session. But for today, our time is up. I'm gonna write down everything I just said so I don't forget about my plan. Okay. So we need to turn item into entities that turn items into resources. Resources that spawn instance. There we go. Okay. So try note keeping. No multiplayer spawner. Oh, there was a burp. Good girl. Heck yeah. Oh. Sorry. Good girl. Yeah. That was awesome. It took you a bit, but you made it. You did it. You arrived. That's kind of feel comfy. Alright, Godot multiplayer spawner. Cannot receive unparented nodes. And honestly, I'm going to hope that that conjecture is correct. The error does look to be that way. So, until next time, friends, it has been an absolute pleasure programming DadBod with you, with my baby girl again. I can't imagine a better way to be building a game called DadBod with you than streaming it like this. Just kind of dealing with a baby while I build it. It's been a lot of fun. Have an absolutely amazing Thursday, my friends.